Welcome, fifth grade, to the last step of the project. One thing before we get started, you need to have 20. If you have more than that, great. If you are unsure of how many you have, you're going to want to do your best to count. Now, if it looks like you've covered up the entire paper, you've done the amount that you need to do for each day's class, then you are probably good to go. All right. 20 means that literally you can't find another spot to put another scissors. So I have 20 on mine. And what we're going to start out with is a circle tracer. And I'm going to try to make this whole demonstration as quick as possible. But the first thing you got to do is when you're done, you're going to move the circle tracer around to an area that you think you want to do color in. Let's just say, I'll just tell you what we're doing. So you're going to put a circle down and you're going to trace it with pencil and do the pencil lightly. Okay. Then you're going to take it off. Okay. Now it might be hard to see, but I have a circle right here. Then it could be close to where you put the first circle, or it could be the opposite side. But you're going to place the circle somewhere that has the circle go off of the paper. I do want at least half of the circle. Okay. And you're going to trace the circle there. So one fully on and one half on. So now we're going to take this, move it off to the side. On one of your extra sheets of paper, or I will have a stack if you're an in-person learner, you're going to want to take your scissors. So this is the color I've been working with this whole time. And we have a couple things that we need to do before we start working on the paper. One, we want to match this color. Okay. Now we don't want to just see it as one color. We want to see it as the lights and the darks. So I found a bunch of different colors, and please never trust the outside color on your colored pencil. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to go from pushing hard to a lighter version where by the time we get to the end, we are barely pushing down. Okay. It's what we call a value scale. And I'm going to do this with each of my colors that I thought were pretty close. And you'll notice that some that you thought were going to be darker, okay, this one's darker than this one, that's as dark as I could get it. And so it's actually, the first one was darker. And then also trying some other colors. Okay. This would be way too light. Okay. But still trying those colors and going all the way to the end. Another one. And the last one, which is going to break on me. All right. Now, in my inventory, and I did this on purpose, I don't have a color that works or matches perfectly. Okay. So what I also could do, and the reason that I picked these two colors, is I can see what happens when I combined the two colors. So whenever you combine two colored pencils, you don't want to do it where you're pushing hard. You kind of want to do layers lightly. And you'll notice, I don't know if it picks it up well or not, this is a lot closer to this color now that I have combined it or mixed together two colors. So depending on your color of your scissors, or multiple colors on your scissors, you need to try to match those to the best of your ability. All right, so I now have my two colors that I think match it. You might find a perfect colored pencil that matches your color, but we are going to have shadows, so some highlights, some lighter areas, darker areas, and this video is going to be really poor on picking those up, but hopefully when I put it on here, you're able to see that. Okay, so those are things I need you to look for. The other thing that we need to match is the silver on the blade, all right? And to do that, I have just found that your pencil works the best. Okay, so you're gonna have darker areas, so you're just gonna push harder, and then you're gonna have lighter areas. So you're getting kind of used to pushing hard and then going from dark to light is good practice. So make sure that you try that out as well. Okay, so now that I have my colors that I need, we're ready to go. One reminder before we start, the metal on your scissors is inside the scissors. It's part of the screw when the screw is showing. And then you can color the blade all one color, but your beveled edge is either going to be lighter or darker depending on how you, so if I hold it here, you can see that that beveled edge is darker. Okay, so make sure that you're looking for that. All right, enough of that. So you can start on the half circle or the full circle. And I do want you to try to pick up on and have this out so you can kind of see what it looks like. If I'm working on the scissors, it's open, right? And I'm only adding color inside of that circle. Okay. So I am going to do a nice light layer. Okay, wherever the table is, we're just going to leave it white. I don't expect you guys to do a wood table. We're just going to add color to the scissors themselves. Okay, direction of your coloring does matter. We're in 5th grade now, so we should be able to stay inside the lines and color in a certain direction. And so I am focusing on the individual piece of plastic first. And another reminder to everyone, if you got an extra piece of paper, because this is all pencil, you're probably going to end up smearing your hands on it. So putting that down will be helpful. Now I'm not going to do everything inside of my circle. I'll take a picture of my finished project, but I'm going to work on just this scissors, and so you can kind of see what I expect. So I started out with the lighter color, not always, what you want to do, but for me, I'm going to do a light layer of the lighter color and then a light layer of the darker color. And then as you can see, I'm going over it a little bit more, pushing a little harder. Okay, and then I'm going to go over with the purple one again, pushing a little harder. But I'm doing the same color everywhere for right now. Okay. And then looking at my scissors, now I can add and I can push harder in those areas that I think I need to, depending on where the lighting is. And you'll notice I have my scissors turned the exact same way. Okay. And so again, this is our still life project. Instead of drawing a vase full of flowers, we're looking at the scissors up close. All right, so I do expect you to constantly be looking and trying to get similar colors and shading. And so I'm pushing a lot harder now than originally. Then we're going to do the same thing in this little area, which I see here, and not going over that metal. And this is definitely where you're going to want to make sure that you know what is what. You don't want to color the table if it's not a scissors or that background. So we know that this isn't anything here, so that's going to stay. We don't want to do anything there. And again, I'm leaving that metal part open. And this little area here is the little dip and indent, I guess, which is lighter. Again, you can't see it from the camera, but I'm not going to push as hard in there. I'm going to put the purple on, but I'm going to push harder in the other areas around it so that that's a highlight, meaning it is a lot lighter or the light hits it differently. Okay. So we're getting pretty close to being done with the purple there. Now for the metal part of the scissors, we do notice that it's a little bit, again, the light's different here, but it is a little darker closer to the scissors. This is definitely a darker side than this one. So we can express that when we make it. And then looking at the direction of how we color, on the scissors on mine, you'll see little lines going this way. I could try the color that way, but I've seen a lot of students screw it up by doing that because they go outside the lines. So I'm always going to color in one direction and go towards that point. Okay, and again, I'm pushing very light. You'll notice that my fingers are pushed all the way back on the end of the pencil when I do that. When I'm holding it closer as if I was writing, you have a lot more force down on the pencil, so you usually have a darker line because you're pushing harder. So the further back I am, the easier it is for me to loosen my grip. And not coloring inside of other areas, still watching to see where my circle is. A lot of you are going to make the mistake of coloring outside or past that circle. And we really want just that one section that's that has color in it, or the two circles. So this side is lighter, so I'm going to barely, and you can see how far back I am on my pencil, I'm going to barely color that one gray. And this takes practice. And I almost went outside my circle there. Okay. And then that bevel is dark, so now I'm going to push a little bit harder than I did on any of the sides to kind of bring that out. Right. Then we have this little piece here, light, but the dark section of it, or the light, does hit part of it up here a little bit more. Okay. So then I want to work on these scissors that are over here. So I'm going to close it, put it in front of me how it is here, and now try to copy this one. So I see that the top of the blade is a little bit darker. And then now I have, let's see how I did that. Okay, so this is now, this little piece here is as if the scissors were going like this. So again, trying to figure out what and where each of those scissors or parts of the scissors are and what part they're representing is important. So now I know where that is, and then I go in. I'm not going to do any more than just this little part of this scissors, and then I'll show my finished product in a picture below this video. You got a lot of reflected light when you start getting inside of these beveled edges or these curved, slanted parts of the scissors to fit your hand. So make sure that you are aware of that and looking for those highlights or the light areas and dark areas. You can also use your pencil if you need to add maybe some darker parts. And I did forget this screw, so that's important to look at too. The inside of the screw is always going to be pretty dark. And then you can go light around it, but then usually around the edges of the screw, it'll get a little darker. So again, looking at it and seeing that. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in here. You can kind of see some of the lights and darks. And darker here, lighter here. Okay, darker on the edge of this little scissors, and then lighter as it went into the curve, and then staying inside of that circle. Really, really, really important. Remind yourself. It's really easy to start coloring this one and then go off and start coloring the whole thing. Stop at that pencil line where that circle is. Okay, so I'm going to continue to work, and I will take a picture of the finished project, and we'll talk about that in class.